Hey everybody. So this week, when I stepped on the scale on Monday morning, same time I do every week, I ended up being heavier than I was the week before. Last week I was 185, this week I am 188. And it got me thinking, what gives? I've been exercising daily, I've been eating healthy, I've been watching my calorie intake. What am I doing wrong? And the short answer is, I'm not doing anything wrong. But the longer answer, there might be 5 different reasons why my exercise goals are not being met in terms of weight loss, and they might apply to you too if you're dealing with the same things. So let's get started with number 1. First of all, why am I not seeing results? Well, number 1, your tracker is lying to you. Now I use Fitbit to track my calorie intake and how many calories I burn a day, my exercise, my sleep, all of that. And I've noticed I recently got a new Fitbit watch. I tend to burn a couple more calories with this watch than I did with my old one. So it could just be that the information that your apps are giving you aren't really accurate. It may say that you burnt 4,000 calories in a day when really you only burnt 3,500. And you can compare this by just even looking at the difference between how many steps your phone says you took, like Google Fit, compared to Fitbit, right? They both give you different numbers, and which one is correct and which one isn't. You're also, when you're using something on your wrist, it's not going to calculate perfectly. And so, even the highest tech of exercise equipment may not actually tell you your exact calorie burn, how much you were breathing, all of those things. So they're not always accurate. And as well, another big thing about the apps, the nutrition might be off. So maybe you put in one medium-sized egg rather than one large egg because you didn't know what the difference was. Well, that's a 20 to 30 calorie difference. And you do that multiple times within the day, 1 tablespoon of ketchup, even though you used 3 or 4, you're going to add up multiple extra 100 calories. And most of them are probably going to be in fat or things that you don't really notice. Even thinking about something like coffee, do you put a teaspoon of sugar in or do you put a tablespoon of sugar in? So making sure that you measure those accurately, and also making sure that the nutrition that the app provides is accurate as well. Sometimes 1 cup of rice is completely different than another cup of rice on those apps. And so knowing that maybe you have to allow some allowance to keep that calorie deficit lower, you might even have to track those calories more carefully. So then number 2, is it your scale that's off? Now my scale, I step on it, it takes like 30 seconds to adjust to what it thinks my weight is. And just by moving back and forward, I can adjust that weight as well. So it could be that your scale might not be as accurate as you would like. Mine also tells me about my fat percentages, my muscle percentage. I don't know if I can trust those because even though it says it right there, I think it's still based off of your age and your weight. If I change my age to 25 on that scale, it's going to make my fat intake a lot higher. And likewise, if I don't have the right measurements of my height, that could affect it too. It could also be that you're not measuring yourself at the same time every single day. Now, I do every Monday. I wake up in the morning, and then I weigh myself and I'll see if it's different from the last week Monday. I don't weigh myself every week. I don't want to see that progress because I've definitely done that before and really had a detrimental nutrition guide with it. So I'm just trying once a week. And that's another thing too, is your body changes 3 to 5 pounds every single day, just dependent on what you're doing. So if I measured myself in the afternoon on Monday, I'd have a much different result than measuring myself in the morning or in the night. It's also what day you do it. Monday might not be the best day for me to weigh in personally because on Saturday and Sunday, my wife is home for the full day. I like to make a big breakfast, I like to make a nice lunch, and I usually make something special for dinner. So this weekend, I made pho and I made carbonara. Uh, Individually, both of those items, if you can separate the calories, it's great. And you can portion your control size. But it's also hard because you're mixing it all together. And so you could say, well, yeah, I had 6 ounces of chicken when really you had eight. But then you had twice as many bean sprouts as you thought you would need. Same thing with the carbonara. You're like, oh, I did a cup of noodles, but there's sauce on those noodles. How do you scale those appropriately when you can't get the proper nutrition guide on those? So the weekend, I probably put on a lot of weight during the weekend, and then I work it off during the week, and then I probably put it back on the next weekend. Maybe if I weighed myself on Friday, it would give a better accurate representation of how the week went compared to just measuring every Monday. So you could also measure more often or less often, depending on what your goals are. So number 3, the next thing that could be an issue is your nutrition in general, right? You may be trying to eat a calorie deficit, but the macros, like the fat, carb, and protein intake might not be accurate. And so for myself, I've been trying to eat way more protein. And what it means is that I end up eating a little bit more fat too, and then the carbohydrates just to stay energized. So I'm actually eating more food than I probably do need to in order to get to the amount of grams of protein that I want in a day. So that could be affecting it. Likewise, you could be using supplements to enhance your bodybuilding or your weight loss journey. And so for myself, I am using creatine every day, just 5 grams. But what that does is it retains a lot of the water in my muscles and in my body. And likewise, if you add more salt into your diet, you're going to be holding more water weight. And so ultimately my scale could just be telling me that I haven't lost any water weight because it's using that to help make my body look more defined or more plump or give energy to my muscles. So that's a huge factor as well. And then you might be overeating because of your tracker. If your tracker says that you burned 3,500 calories, you think, great, I can eat 3,000 calories. When really you might only be able to eat 25 or 24. So always make sure that you're checking that weight to see if you need to correct those issues in your nutrition. Number 4 is, are you really focused on your exercises? And what is your goal for the exercise? So I realized that over the last couple of weeks, my goal has been to lose weight, but to also gain muscle. So I've been doing cardio and then a physical exercise where I'm lifting weights. And then back to cardio, and then back to lifting weights. Well, that could affect how my muscles develop and how they heal over time. And as well, for me, I'm trying to look better. And so for me, that means that I am trying to lose that weight. And I feel like it's working, but I'm still gaining weight. Which brings me to my last element is, are you going through body recomposition? Fat looks bigger than muscle per pound to pound. So I might be getting thinner, but my muscle is getting stronger. And as a result, the fat goes down, the muscle gains, but you don't notice it on the scale because this is more of a physical appearance thing. Do you feel stronger when you exercise? If you're feeling stronger when you're exercising, then you're probably building that muscle. And if you're feel like you're looking better, if your cheeks are getting more lean, or the places where you notice fat disappear first, getting more lean, maybe you're losing that fat but building that muscle. And that could be changing the fact that you're not losing as much weight as you think as well. Are you a new person to exercising, right? If you're just starting out, and especially if you have more fat, it could take longer to burn, because again, per resting, every 10 pounds of fat only burns 20 calories compared to every pound of muscle. Resting per day burns 50 calories. So that's something to consider too. You may lose weight quicker because you're losing all the excess of your water weight and all of those other things, but then it might be harder to maintain that weight loss as your body changes. And likewise, if you've been exercising for a long time, it might take a lot longer to see those tiny little results in your weight if you're cutting or if you're building muscle. So anyways, my hope is that my exercise journey this week, I gained 3 pounds. I'm hoping that it was 3 pounds of muscle that I gained in strength, because I feel a lot stronger. I feel like my body is getting thinner, which is great. I feel like when I stand up, I don't have to groan anymore. And so I know that what I am doing is working towards my exercise goals, even if the scale is telling me something different. So with that said, I hope this helps you in your exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle journey and goals. And if you liked this information, please like and subscribe so that I can share this with other people. And with that said, as always, I'll see you tomorrow.